correctly pronounce your last name?
Fattal.
Fattal.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And does anybody ever call you Guy? Like,
All the time here.
And it's
all
from
the time.
because the French.
Yeah, just because they think like
Right.
it's a French name, right?
Right.
But I hear that it's basically like an old man's name.
Guy.
Like maybe your old uncle would be called Guy.
Yeah,
So,
I think so.
Yeah.
But that's a good segue into Guy Fattal being on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming today, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Stoked. We've been talking about it for a little while, and then yeah, it's gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
On a Saturday morning. Yeah.
Yeah, rainy Saturday morning.
Yeah. So I guess it's an interesting name because you do have when you're in different, like we're in Canada and French people call you Guy. And it's like, I guess do you let it go or do you say, no, it's not my name?
I used to like get pretty pissed off about it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I did. I'm
right.
Like, no, I'm not French. No offense, right? But like, my name's Guy, just a guy. So that's what I say. But these days, like, there's some people that just let them go with it and like whatever. But do you know what's a...
But it's not on purpose. They're not doing it to bother you.
No, they're not doing it on purpose. Yeah. Like, it's instinct. You see that name and like... You know a few geese here in Canada and Quebec and and you just go with it. But yeah, do you know where's the origin, like where Fattal is from?
No.
Yeah, so it's actually an Iraqi last name.
Oh, really?
Iraq, yeah.
Holy shit.
My like grandparents are from Baghdad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they had to like escape Baghdad basically when they were like turning on against like all the Jews there, but they used to like have from the stories, like an amazing life there.
Really?
They used to have like an amazing life, and they had to like get up and leave.
How long ago was that?
So that would have probably been like in late 30s, early 40s.
Right.
Like,
so,
yeah. I mean, during the war or like just after, before Israel was set up in like 1948.
Right.
Yeah. They just had to get out of there.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I can't even like process that in my brain, like what that would be like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's insane. Just like
so much courage and also just like you have no other choice pretty much, right? You just got to get out of there.
Yeah.
So
you got to get out of there. And like Israel, where I'm from, and I'm sure we'll get into that, it basically it's like a crazy melting pot that consists of like people who have come from everywhere in the world, right? Like you've got Jews who came after like the war and the Holocaust all around Europe. Yeah. And then you've got like Jews who came like from North America, South America, and then you've obviously got from all the Muslim countries that had to leave. Like just the same as like my grandparents and ancestors and stuff had to leave Iraq. Like you've got the same from Morocco, from all around, right? From Iran, like from everywhere.
So many cultures
in the Muslim world. Yeah.
Wow.
And then they end up bringing like that culture
to
Israel, and you see it in like just like the mentality, the culture, the food.
Right.
Like that's one of the reasons the food is so good in Israel, because you've got such a variety.
Yeah.
You got such a variety, like highlights from everywhere in the world. Have shown up, and that's what our food is.
That's pretty cool. And I mean, obviously the reasoning for it's really not great, but like the culture that creates is pretty awesome. It's like it's a world culture in a country, and I think that's where you can kind of get the compassion for the rest of the world by having so many cultures around you, just living and doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like, pretty insane.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. We got to try this coffee.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry, the coffee. Cold. Yep, right.
Yeah.
So explain this coffee again.
Okay, so I was just in Israel now, like a few weeks ago, and there's this place I know since I was like a teenager in the old city of Jerusalem. Yeah, which is pretty exceptional. It's got like 4 quarters, and I was starting to tell you about it. So you've got like the Muslim quarter, Jewish quarter, Christian quarter, and Armenian quarter, which is pretty cool. It's like an offspring, I guess, of Christianity.
Right.
And then walking in the Muslim quarter, I find the coolest there with all the small shops and stores and food and everything. And there's this one old guy who has like a coffee stand there, and he grinds in front of you. He grinds his coffee with some cardamom, which is in here, as much as you like. Like you tell him what proportion.
Oh,
you
really?
Want. And he grinds it in there, puts it in like this little paper bag, and like it comes out warm, and it smells so damn good.
That's rad.
So damn good. So this is what we're drinking now.
Okay.
I got some with me, so cheers to
buddy.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't drink the mud in the bottom.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it's real good.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, you can kind of taste like the
Yeah, you can taste like that tang, and the cardamom like loses a bit of its flavor.
Right.
So like if we had it like fresh a month ago,
yeah,
like you would totally like get that cardamom feeling, but you taste the tang in it.
It's
and
good.
I try and keep it like frozen. Actually, I keep it in the freezer. I think it holds the flavor
because it's already ground, right?
Yeah.
So it's but you just mix this into the water. Like
I do it on.
Yeah. So I know I was saying
on
just
the stove with like a finjan and like it bubbles and you mix it in and
you just don't drink the grit.
Minutes
right. It's cowboy coffee.
Go, man.
It's good, man.
Yeah,
it's really yummy. You don't even need like.
It's strong.
I was joking about adding milk in it, but I feel like you don't even need like it has like the cream. It's good, man.
Yeah, you put some milk or cream
just ruin
in
it.
You're like never gonna be allowed into Israel, dude.
I don't know.
Or anywhere like Turkish coffee, like people will get a heart attack if you put milk in.
Oh yeah, it's that with Turkish coffee. What's the difference?
It's the same.
Oh, okay,
it's the same.
Okay, right.
Yeah, it's just I think referred to
good,
how you drink it, which is in a small proportion, and we call it like mud coffee.
Yeah, right.
Right. So like imagine it's just basically unfiltered, and all of the coffee heavy soaks to the bottom, and then you just gotta know where to stop.
Yeah.
You get that like bits on your tongue, and it's no fun. But
it must be like a crazy. The little granulars are just pretty much pure coffee going into your system too. So you're getting that like actual like physical pieces of coffee.
Yeah, and this is a good stuff. I'm starting off with
it's yummy.
A real deal here.
This is legit. It's good.
Cool.
Thanks, man. Get you wired.
Yeah.
So, we've known each other for a few years, I guess. Now it's been a while, I guess. Yeah. I want to ask you something. Actually, just came up in the news.
Go on.
But I'll bring it up in a bit because I'm gonna get into this first. But professionally, you're a photographer.
Yeah.
That's what you do full time.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you came here from Israel, right to Canada.
Well, sort of.
Just kind of like by way of other places for short.
By way, I was like spending my winters like probably like 4 winters by then in Europe. Okay. So like a couple of them were based in France, and then I was traveling like all around. Yeah, so I'd spend my winters in Europe and then kind of the rest of the time in Israel, still trying to figure stuff out, traveling a little bit, working a little bit back home, just doing whatever. And then I came like out here for a month for the first time, which was like 2015, 2016.
Because I was working at Arc'teryx at the time.
That's right.
And you did the Dolomite.
I did the Dolomites in Europe the year before.
And you got the wild card and came over, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Because I was working at Arc'teryx at the time, and I remember then you came to Deep Winter, and I helped run Deep Winter.
That's right, and that's how we met.
Yeah, right.
Of course, that year. Yeah, and that was like an amazing experience for me, just like being out here for that entire month. I was staying with like one of my buddies that is Canadian, and I met like in skiing in Teen.
Oh, really?
Before he was doing a season there, and we met like that, and he was moving to Whistler like the winter after, so I ended up like just staying with him and just like connected once I got here, and it's like, okay, this is, if I want to really make this a career and a lifestyle, like this is where I want to be.
It's pretty cool, man. It's funny how the ski industry, like you meet people like, you didn't know the person you met in Teen would be somebody who would help you get your feet, done, in the door here or whatever, get a place here.
Yeah,
and then,
it's funny.
Oh, so this is a good segue actually. So Deep Winter isn't happening this year.
I hear that.
I know.
Yeah,
it's crazy, eh?
And you know what? Like, yeah, it's crazy, but
doesn't surprise
how many
me.
years has it been? Like 12, 13?
Oh, no. Actually, I don't know.
It has. Like,
I was there for like 7 of them, maybe 6 of them. But
so
maybe
it's been running for like 12, 13, because when I won it the second year, that was the 11th year, man. So I know, like, it's been running for quite a few years. I think it's like, in a sense, like anything, not taking away from it for a moment. I think like in a way it's run its course. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It just needs to be like refreshed. There's only
there's
only so much you can do of any like artistic event or sports event to that least where like the bar is set, and then it's tough to like, us as humans, we're always expecting the next time to like push the bar higher and higher and higher, and it's tough, especially like with a photo contest that is so much about art and interpretation, and like you've got the snow conditions going into it. I think we've been pretty unlucky with that the past few years, and just like imagine you've got like 5-6 photographers every year.
It's hard to
already
find.
Had like 70 folks come through. Like, You better start flying them from the other side of the world like me.
That's the thing. Yeah, you got to bring them from Israel.
Yeah, you got to bring them from Israel or anywhere.
I think that's like
one from Europe.
So if anybody doesn't know what Deep Winter is, it's a photography contest in Whistler. I mean, people in Whistler listen to this, but yeah. Anyway, it's a photography contest, and we're talking about how it's not happening right now. It's over for at least a year, but I think it's fine. I mean, I just think it's like it's not. Is it going to come back? I don't know.
I think it's gonna like come back, hopefully in a different form.
I think it's hard to find what that form is. It's almost like
change up like the game. Like let's do something else.
Sure, but then I think about, okay, so what are the options for a photography contest? Is it maybe it's abandoning the whole idea, or then how do you change it enough to make it worth watching?
I think you can tweak it around like a bit with the set of rules. Like, what if, I think part of the problem the past couple years is that people were struggling to figure out and come up with original concepts. Because Deep Winter, is so much about the storytelling. It's so much about the concept. It's almost like putting together a short movie with your photos, where you got to tell a story ultimately. And I think that's been the struggle. So maybe you like set a theme. I don't know, like set a theme, and the photographers have to take that theme in like one sentence or whatever, and like do whatever they see with it and get creative with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's like it needs a refresh.
Yeah,
and it's interesting to think about what they can do. But I mean, I think it's just goes to show, as far as like photography goes too. There's a lot of photographers out there, even though you've gone through like in 10 years. I don't want to talk about this too much, but you go through like 13 years, whatever it's been. Like you said, that's 5 to 6 photographers every year.
Yeah.
And they're trying to keep it somewhat local. And they're trying to celebrate the storm season. Well, there hasn't been that many storm seasons in January recently. No. It's been pretty shit. So like
maybe this year it's going to happen. I bet this year it's going to go off. And like, when is it? Always like the second week of January? It's going to go off this year.
Dude, that would be hilarious.
It's going to be like, we'll just be doing our underground, like Deep Winter.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. So you did that contest just once or more than once?
No, so I did it twice. Yeah. I did that first time when we met, 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
And I was invited out after having done won the King of Dolomites in Europe,
Italy,
which is kind of like an equivalent, but more of a singular photo contest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No video.
And no video, no. And that was the year when I did it. That was like the 10th version, and it was the one when Chad Chomlak won.
Oh yeah, right.
And I think the level that year was so damn good.
Yeah.
Because they brought back a
bunch of people
who won it the years before, like the past 5 years, and then I did it first time. I think in Chad, I think it was his first time, and he won it, and just the level was so high.
Yeah,
it was so high, and I think that's kind of the standard I set to myself, and then the next year when I was invited to do it, I jumped on that opportunity, and cool. I think I already had the experience and knew what goes into creating a successful slideshow and trying to figure out a successful concept, something that I can connect to, and just knowing how to set my days of shooting and editing, because it's intense.
Yeah, well, do you edit yourself? You don't have to edit for you? You make
I had someone edit it for me. Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. I'm curious when, I think it's interesting when people don't get editors and when they do get editors. I think for the most part people get editors now.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, for sure, because they can be logging they can be looking after it day to day, keeping track of it all, and you don't have to spend the time doing it. I mean, you're a photographer, so you shoot.
Yeah, and then
maybe they got to make it so it's maybe. I mean, that contest could be no more outside help. It's just a slideshow.
I don't know.
Because not last year, I don't know if you're around, but the original...
I wasn't around for last year.
So not last year, I meant just a long time ago, I should have said.
Yeah.
They used to do just the slideshows at the Pro Photo Showdown. It was a slideshow counter.
Oh, so every photographer
and the music
was actually
they'd hit play.
His photos.
They hit play on the music. The music would play on the speakers, and they have and it would jam up.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Got to go back to the original.
Should do that again.
They should, because I even feel
because you only get the people who
right? Olympus stopped sponsoring the Pro Photo Showdown this year.
Yeah.
And it was not as good, man.
No,
it wasn't as good. Something about it.
Yeah.
Something about it was just not...
I think it's
not as good. The event itself, the photos and photographers were awesome.
It was kind of I'm gonna check the camera. I think.
We on?
Oh yeah, we're still on. I leave this stuff in too. Yeah, I think there's something about that event because I think it's popular, but I think the problem is the reason why they pull out is because it didn't sell out this year.
I can't believe it didn't sell out.
But
It always does.
I think there's an issue, and I'm not. I mean, I work for the festival; they're really great. I think the events are awesome, but I think there's a thing when you bring in photographers from afar, and they submit their stuff, so they're world photographers. This town does well when events are promoted with all the people who are in the events locally. So when like people in the events are local people, the events do really well.
Yeah.
A guy in Hawaii, if he tweets out or puts on Instagram, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Whistler for this event I'm at," it's not gonna bring a lot of people to it.
No, but it's been working the past year.
Yeah.
It's just something about this year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Right?
I think
you still had the guys from Hawaii the years before.
Yeah, I just don't know why. I mean,
skateboard photographers were the ones like.
Well, the video contests sold out. They were huge this year.
Which one? Like the filmmakers show or the intersection?
They both sold out.
They both sold out?
And they're both records. Like they're both
really?
Yeah.
I didn't go like to those last year. Oh. I just did like the Pro Photo Showdown, but like I don't find the level at intersection is very very inspiring.
No. Well, it's not the same it used to be for sure. It used to be really good.
I don't know what it used to be. I heard it used to be good, but
I judged the first year of it. It was fucking awesome.
Some of the videos like
it's suffering the same.
The hood could create that.
It's suffering the same plight as it's suffering the same as photography contests around. There's just like all the same.
Yeah,
it's hard to get crews in, and I think the demise of film crews in the ski and snowboard industry, as far as like, used to be all these film crews specifically would make videos. So they had the time to make these things. Now, the only people making videos are brands and maybe Matchstick and TGR and I know some other snowboard like Blank Paper, something like that. But like, so there's no crews out there making videos. Like there's like a couple filmers with some athletes and they film edits for these brands, but they don't have a crew that goes. So there's not even just the option for people to have, like they have to almost come to do it specifically for that.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Man, it's a confusing time. Maybe the answer is like just to take a few years break and then just like hit the refresh button.
Yeah.
And I'm sure after a few years there's people brewing with like photographers and video makers with like cool ideas and concepts and like
I think the restrictive aspect to try to make it challenging is got to go.
You think so?
Yeah, I think saying if you give somebody like 3 days to shoot photography, you can, if you're not going to just bring back the ultimate best people and you're trying to like grow the sport and stuff or grow the industry, whatever you want to call it, not sport, but I think that the restrictive natures of it all, or just like don't make it so tight. Give people like I thought, if you give any contest, if you give them more time, like say you give them a week window and they have to pick a window within a certain amount of time to do that. I think you give them more option. I think you come back with a better show.
Yeah, a week window works, man. So like I was gonna tell you like about this, so this is good timing. But this summer, well, generally speaking, and we'll get to that. But I've like really been getting into trail running and ultra marathons and stuff, and also starting to shoot it more, which is like super fun. So I'll like run with my vest and like just like one camera, 24-70 lens on it, like try and keep it pretty light so I can move around, be nimble and stuff. So together with Ross Berg, right, he has like Altus Guides. We decided to put together like an underground deep winter like theme running photo show. And I don't know like if you saw it like on social media or whatever, but
I don't know, man. Maybe it was
in August, and basically it was with myself included as one of the photographers. We had 4 photographers come out, which I invited, and from like one of the top like guys in the industry of shooting trail running in Vancouver, and we had like a couple guys from Squamish. So we were 4 photographers, and we basically I like set the rule and like the rules in the PDF with everything. So like what works, and and we gave everyone a full week to shoot, or actually I think it was longer. I think it was like 8 or 9 days to shoot anywhere in the Sea to Sky. So you could shoot like from basically like Horseshoe Bay all the way out till like the ends of Pemberton and whatever.
That's cool.
And you could shoot trail running anywhere. Do whatever concept you want. And you have time to shoot. It's summer. You've got like super long days, and then we came together at do you know the Common in Squamish?
It's like downtown? A working space.
Yeah,
I heard about that.
That place is pretty sick for just small events, and Man, we promoted this like I got photographers on board like 2.5 weeks before the event, and we started promoting the photo show like 5 days before the show. And like I've had these photographers like busting, like working their asses off to create these slideshows, and I think me and Ross were pretty concerned like no one's gonna show up. It's gonna be like one of those sad birthday parties.
Pretty unique though.
Yeah,
for running photography, like I mean, as far as a contest in that.
Yeah, but
space.
But that's the thing. It wasn't a contest. We didn't set it as a contest. It was just gonna be like put together like something that's never been done in the trail running industry. Get like the community from all around the sea to sky and Squamish and Vancouver to come out. And dude, we packed the place up. It's like, I don't know what the max capacity is there. It's not huge, but maybe like 90 people, 100 people.
Yeah, okay. Still, that's good though.
And we maxed it out. Like people were standing at the door watching it. We had like a food truck show up. We had a bar. We had like a DJ, and my buddy Ryan Kenny was like, he was hosting the event.
Oh, cool.
So he was like on the mic bringing every photographer up. We played like rock, paper, scissors to see who's gonna like go first. And it felt like some underground like, like cockfight. Yeah. It kind of felt just that we're doing it with photography, and it was so fun, and everyone like killed it. There was no like winner or loser. Like everyone was stoked. The crowd was so into it. People were like cheering, and we just had a good time. And it was fresh, and it's never been done before in that industry. And it turned into like a great party afterwards. Like people like having a damn good time afterwards. And it was so much fun. Like I think like we have a lot of opportunity to like grow it, and I've had photographers reach out to me like wanting to do it next year as well. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll like organize it and maybe do it maybe a bit bigger, but yeah, like just putting that together was so much fun.
It sounds really unique for something I've never like, I mean, as far as like a running photography kind of event, whatever. Because I mean, it's definitely trail running is becoming super popular, and people, it's kind of like hot. It's like trendy. It's kind of like backcountry skiing was like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But no, it's cool, and that's cool when Squamish gets behind stuff. Yeah, like they love that kind of shit. But I think, those small little events are awesome, and then you hit a threshold where it's either you hit a turning point. You know, if you say you do it for like 3 years, it gets bigger and bigger. There's a point where you have to like jump it up exponentially. Yeah, and I think that's where some of them it's hard to do. But that's such a young. It seems to me, I'm pretty naive towards it, but it seems like that's a young like event. It could probably go on for a few years. Yeah. It's not like skiing or snowboarding where it's kind of been old news, you know?
Yeah, no, this is like totally new. And like,
that's rad.
I almost feel like we're pioneering in that aspect, because there's not a lot of people doing this. Nor are there like a lot of photographers in trail running as there are in like skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking. It's
no one's specific to it. Everyone's like
not specific to it.
Yeah.
No.
I think
everyone's like doing a bit of everything.
It's usually like commercial work. Like trail running isn't like there's no I guess there's editorial.
There's a little bit. There's a couple of magazines.
Probably tons of running magazines actually. Yeah.
A couple, not a ton.
No, but it just seems like I guess I'm naive and trapped in this world of skiing snowboarding, but it does seem, in my perception of it, would just be like it's very commercial photography. Yeah. But it's you go to some awesome places, man. Like trail running, you've fucking like especially the times of year you go there. Like I'm used to seeing winter photography or mountain biking in those areas, but running, your trails are different. Like you're just in a less trampled area or less people. Yeah, because you go high alpine or something. That's awesome.
Getting into the alpine is so much fun. Yeah. So like I did with my buddy from here who's like an endurance and Ironman coach and stuff, Christian.
Oh yeah,
we went up.
I know him. Yeah.
He also has his own podcast.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. I didn't know that.
He's getting more back into doing more of them now because he took a bit of a break, just busy and stuff. But yeah, we went up like near Squamish. We wanted to like get to this zone that we've seen like photos of. Yeah. And we basically like took our bags up to hike there. And camp overnight. So we like hiked up to the alpine with all of our gear, all of our running gear, camped overnight, and then run like that evening, and then for sunrise the next morning, and we're doing like photos. So like we got into the alpine with all of our gear, and then we were just up there and running around.
How much running is actually happening? Are you like running like?
Yeah,
are you like?
That's a good question.
Are you like? I know you're running for the shot, obviously. Yeah. But you're also, I hope, behind the scenes, it's like. Are you like running, finding a spot, setting up? Because you said you take your camera with you.
Yeah, it really depends what the shoot is. So I think like on this one where we did the camping, we really wanted to like emphasize getting sunset photos, sunrise photos. So I think like photography kind of led the way there. So it was a bit less running, but then we were just like, we also did like a recon trip in the Chilcotins, like a kayaks, and and there it was definitely
heli running.
No, not heli running, just like running, like full on running, man. And there it was like, I had my camera and at one stage I'm just like running with camera in hand, and if I see something like I'm starting to sprint ahead or stay up back and just catch up and taking photos. So there was like a lot of running involved, and I think we ended up doing like 25 plus kilometers that day with shooting a ton and just still like running and moving fast. So it can be really whatever you want it to be.
Right.
Yeah, I think if you're like trying to emphasize like the time of day, like
if it's editorial
shoot and stuff, like you're gonna shoot more, run a bit less. But if you're like out there for a full day, like you're running and shooting on the way, you know.
I just picture like somebody just running across stopping.
Yeah, that still happens.
Yeah, I guess the same thing as skiing, right? Because you got to like run, take a turn, you miss, you do it again.
Skiing,
yeah. You've had a pretty good start to the winter this year. You had or not even the winter. You've had a pretty good start to the fall with your fruits of your labor from last year.
Yeah, on the editorial front has been
it's been good for you.
Yeah,
that's
been
cool.
Good to me, man.
Yeah, you've been getting some coverage, on other magazines.
Been getting quite a few covers recently, and it I've been like really stoked and like just seeing like all of my work, like it has like come to fruition the past few years, but just like basically like in the span of a month I've had like 5 major covers, right?
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool, and it feels great, and it's like you end up, you're like, okay, one more, like and you get used to it, like with any success, but man, it's like this is what I dreamt of, and
that's cool,
and it's really cool, and if anything, it's getting me like really motivated for this winter to like get out and just like shoot and ski, because I think I wasn't as motivated like just to get out last year. I always wanted there to be a reason to go out, whether it was like, is there a reason, are we going out like on the best day of winter?
You're more selective.
Am I gonna like make any money from this day shooting? Like, like just being more selective was, now I'm like pretty motivated to just get out and shoot and
I guess you go through those like as any profession. You go through these ups and downs where you like kind of get motivated and just kind of coast and motivated and coast and everything else. And I think when you see, it's good to get. It's a shame the snow hasn't kept up with the success of your, like the magazines rolling in. You got covers on. Too bad we don't have snow now to keep this just to match.
Yeah,
the
but
stoke.
it's gonna come. It's gonna come, sure. And I'll be stoked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like as any creative or freelance or athlete or like whatever, like you gotta learn to ride the waves, and there are so many ups and downs, and I used to struggle with it a lot, whereas now I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm learning to like just roll with it, like take the down moments as they come, where you feel like, man, you just like sat here and nothing's happening, right? Like you're getting rejection after rejection, nothing's coming your way, you haven't been like you haven't been paid for a gig in like a couple months, and like you don't know how you're gonna get out of that slump, and then it just like happens, and it's just, and you gotta like ride that wave when you're on it, and like be okay with the downtimes. And I used to like really struggle with that side, whereas now I'm much more chill about it.
Oh, there's less downtimes though now? Like there must be like less, like it must be.
Yes and no. Like, yeah, maybe less downtimes, but like it still exists. It's not.
When you get used to it.
Even with having all the success I'm having now, it doesn't mean that I'm like laid on my couch with my feet up and like work is knocking on my door and like my phone's exploding. Like, guy, come shoot us, come do this. Like, you still gotta like put yourself out there and get what you want, but. I also think I'm so like goal oriented.
Yeah.
Just as a human being, like with anything, it can be with my work, it can be with my life, with anything really, and that can be a struggle once you achieve the goals.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what's next, you know?
Yeah. There's some, I'm going to hear this before. I don't remember where I heard this, but I think it might have been Elaine. I think it might have been Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She said that you always have to have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think that's where people can have trouble is if you have goals that you succeed. I mean, that's maybe a bit depression can kick in and stuff.
It can kick.
Especially in like mountain towns, but people are just like so many highs and lows.
Yeah.
It can be tough for sure. But I think if you always have something to work forward to, and if you're goal oriented, you'll be setting those goals continuously.
Yeah.
Right.
But you go through stages where you don't know what your next goal is.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, going back a few years, winning Deep Winter was a massive goal, and I got there. I got to that mountaintop.
Right.
And then you're like, all right, now what's next? What's next? And with like my photography, you realize that okay, like today I've got to a point where this is my source of income.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is how I can make ends meet, and you realize that sometimes it's not as exciting and as amazing as you put it out to be, and you just got to put the work in, and it's not always gonna be like these mountaintops and peaks of achievements and the top of your goals, but just like finding that next thing is tough. Like, yeah, I even like speaking like, you know, Ruben Krabbe, of course, and he got that crazy
that nebula thing.
Yeah, well, that was his like next goal, but like go back 3 years and he got the shot in Svalbard, you know, with the moon eclipse, right? With those Salmon guys, and then you achieve that. Like for him, that's his ultimate goal. He got that.
Yeah.
What's next? And like we've had like a bunch of those chats, like just realizing what's next can be a big challenge as itself, man.
Do you think that's why you got into running more and like in a different aspect, just to like diversify of just like your goals maybe? Like, because now you're running like, is that you ran the 50?
Yeah.
So
I did the 50 Squamish 50K August. Yeah.
So like that's not, and you're shooting running more. Is that a challenge you've given yourself to kind of like, help you along with dealing with the other aspects of your life, like photography and stuff? Just because like,
I mean, it could be. I don't think I've like dived deeply into thinking, well, why have I gotten so much into running the past few years? Because I have, like, it's overtaking like my summers, and I'm so passionate about it, which is great. Like I'm actually really enjoying getting into something that over the past few years is fresh to me. Although I've always been like pretty decent at running, but I've never run like over half a marathon until like the past few years, right?
Wow.
So for me, like what's cool, like running just cleans my head. And then the challenges, like endurance challenges is becoming like a thing for me now. Like, well, just doing something you never thought that you could do before and getting to it, like it feels really awesome. And I think, it naturally connects as being a goal-oriented human being. It just connects kind of to that, and maybe it's different to my photography, but surely like it helps with my creativity and like being able to drive myself to get to where I want to be, which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you competitive? Like, are you like when you're out there? You like?
I think I never used to be, but I'm more competitive than I wanna say I am. Like I
try to be humble, but you're still like,
exactly. Like I am competitive. Like you play like Monopoly or cards or anything against me, like you'll see it come out. It gets nasty pretty easily.
I think that's what I mean. It's competitive is, as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, a competitive spirit's key, I think.
It's important
because you need to have that drive to keep going and finding work and doing the work and finding the work again. And I think trail running is an extreme, especially in the 50K, 50 mile, whatever one you're doing. Even the 20 kilometers a lot.
And that's even why, like, I love the trail running. I've done a bunch of races. I did like a couple of races this past year, like including the Squamish 50. And it's not necessarily that I showed up to it like at my peak. I think I could have trained harder, but then I show up to it and the experience is cool, don't get me wrong, and it's great, but I don't necessarily enjoy competing in these races because like I become over competitive and suddenly I care so much about what place I am, and if someone just like overtook me when I'm feeling like slow or you know, like suddenly I care too much about it, where it should be just about my personal experience and what difference if I come in first or if I came in last? Like, it shouldn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say.
But it does,
kind
man.
of overtakes.
Yeah, dude.
Overtakes that experience for me too much. So I think, like, in a sense, I don't really enjoy doing these run races, and just want to set out these goals for myself. Like, if I want to go run a marathon in the mountains, like, I'm gonna go do it. I'll do it for me, you know, and not through a race.
It's hard. I mean, I find it like, just if you are competitive, anytime you get into a race situation, it's hard to put that aside.
It's tough. You wanna say that you will, but but it's tough.
For sure. I'm not super competitive, but there's times I'm like, I get that way. Like, I find myself like, okay, wait, chill out for a minute. But just those. I mean, I feel like those endurance races, anything is like, it's a competition with yourself, and you have to be competitive in that respect, or you won't finish the race if you can't even compete with yourself. But
where do you feel like you've in the past, like, have been over competitive?
I used to be all competitive with work, with jobs. Yeah. Like, I thought I was going to have a better job, and like try to like get a job. Like, I've heard someone get a job, I like kind of get jealous or something like that. And then I was realized I'm getting competitive about a job, and it's taking up most of my life. I gotta stop doing that. But then when I think of, that's kind of, maybe just trying to be funny. Yeah. Trying to be funny, I get competitive with that. If I tell a joke doesn't land, or somebody else is funnier than me around me, I try to be funnier. But it sounds like so, basic, but it's probably that. Nothing really like. If I was a freelancer, I think, like, I'd probably get that competitiveness back. Yeah. It's easy not easy, but if you have a job and you just work in an office or you work somewhere, you do your job, you're good at it. But yeah, I haven't been super competitive outside of, like, not with work recently anyway. Yeah. But yeah, nothing sports-wise really.
Well, your industry should be pretty chill.
Yeah, everyone's pretty chill. Yeah, no one's competing. They're just competing about
only good vibes.
Yeah. Who's got the best grass?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think competition's good, man. I think when you're younger, I think, like, there's, like, children and stuff now are being just, like, given awards for, not so much in Whistler, but I think in bigger cities, people are just given awards for participation. They're not really challenged. Yeah. I think that's competitive spirit keeps people more successful in life. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's good though. We were talking about, what were we talking about? I wanted to bring it up. Anyway, I'll move on. Here. What's that?
You got me on hold. Like,
yeah, damn. I
what were we talking about?
I'll bring it up. I remember, it'll pop in my head later. But hey, wait. So you have 5 covers, you said, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you. So is it, since you're from Israel and there's not, like, the ski scene you came to is here? Yeah. Where's most of your success happening? Are you, like, known in Europe, like, or is it a mix of Canada?
Here, here, right, like, completely here. I'm not necessarily. I started off in Europe, like, well, basically, like, go back, like, after I finished my military service, and we can, like, get into that afterwards. But I ended up, like, spending a winter season with friends, like, as Israelis. We finished 3 years of military. Like, all you want to do is, like, get out, see the world. Yeah.
Oh, it's mandatory.
It is. It is. Right. And all you want to do is, like, get out, see the world, travel. So you, like, go to Asia, to South America. For me, I went straight away and I spent a ski season, like, with friends, and ended up connecting that winter with, like, the CEO of Israel's largest ski, snowboard, like, winter sports travel company.
Oh, really?
Right? And ended up doing, like, some photos for them during that year. And the next summer, they, like, hit me up and, like, what do you think about working for us the next winter, this upcoming winter, traveling around all of the resorts we work in Europe?
Really?
And taking photos, like, for full winter, right?
That's legit,
making
dude.
Salary and everything. Basically, like, dude, I was like, where do I sign?
Yeah, sign. Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah, I read the contract still. Yeah, I'm joking, but yeah, and I spent, like, that next winter traveling 7 different countries all around Europe. Like, cool. I think I did, like, 25 ski resorts. Wow. Full on winter. Like, it was insane. I was just traveling trains, flights, buses, like, making my way between resort and resort that they work with. Yeah. And that was kind of a cool stepping stone for me to just, like, get into it and just, like, realize where I want to be. And
that's cool.
Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty insane, but I'm, like, having moved to here a few years later, I've really, like, progressed my career and business, right, and my brand here in North America.
Right,
So
okay.
I'm mainly like working with North American athletes.
Right.
Obviously, so many like in the sea to
Well,
sky,
this
and
town,
then
yeah.
like with brands in North America.
Right.
These days, yeah.
But the magazine coverage, is it
Yeah.
mostly
Do you wanna
North
see
America?
them?
Yeah, sure, man.
Right
We
here.
can pull them up. Yeah, for sure. I'm
Yeah.
just curious what the like say so you're shooting North American athletes, but like are you getting
This is like the
so free skier.
free skier mag.
Who is
That's
this?
a shot of like Simon D'Artois, local guy
Simon
from
D'Artois.
here.
Half pipe guy. Ex half pipe guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
Sick.
I think that was a crazy day. Just got like the
What else you got?
Mountain Life one.
I thought
they
this
did
one-
they did like some cool Matrix like graphic on it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Who's
it's, like,
this?
the future issue. That's Alexei Godbot.
Oh yeah.
We were shooting it during like a trip down
Mountain
into
Life, yeah.
Callahan here.
Sweet.
For the blank movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ski Canada.
Ski
Hilarious.
Canada, that's
Yeah.
right.
No kidding, this thing's still around,
Yeah.
hey?
It's going, man.
Who's that?
That's Robert Aring. He's a Norwegian guy, crazy strong skier.
Right.
Like he's hitting some of the biggest stuff you've ever seen.
Really?
We just connected like a few years ago because it's not a new shot. It's
No.
from a few winters ago.
Ski
Just this
Canada.
ice cave like formed naturally.
Where was it? Oh, it's here.
It's like here. Do you know where it is? I don't know if we
looks
should
like-
be giving away the spots here, but
no, we don't have to give away the spots.
yeah, it's in the Blackcomb
It's the
backcountry.
backside of something, yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got
Skier. Yeah.
SBC skier here.
big.
Also an older
Well, it's
shot.
a big shape. It feels like a bigger size than you're used to. Maybe I'm wrong.
What, the magazine itself?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's all like different sizes.
Who's that?
Jules Mundin. He's a French kid.
Right.
Also like an absolute
Buried.
slayer.
Yeah.
And this is also shot Whistler Blackcomb and then we've got like
Oh,
Ski
yeah.
France shot of Charlie Cohn in Hokkaido
Charlie
on my
Cohn.
Japan trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Boom.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got like another one or two coming up.
Right.
The next month, but
That's cool,
yeah,
man.
this all happened like in the span of 1 month, so it's been like
But you knew it was coming, right? You submitted to them, and they don't. Or they
I
just,
submitted them, but some of them were like complete.
they don't tell
Like
you, right?
they tell you, yeah,
Right,
they tell you,
okay.
but you don't necessarily know you're getting the cover. Like the Ski Canada one, I just saw it like on their
Right.
social media, and I was like, oh, okay,
But
wow,
that photo's
this is
old.
pretty rad.
Did you submit that photo to them a couple years ago or something? There, and they just
I've
used
been
it again?
submitting that photo for like the past 3 years. Same with the one of SBC. I've been
Really?
submitting that photo for like a few years.
Really?
And no one like published the SBC one and asked Andrew Bradley, the editor, like, why now? I've been sending you this photo for like the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, it grew on me.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like,
guess so,
and I
right?
get it. Sometimes you need just a photo to like grow on you and brew and,
Well,
and then
especially-
you just connect to that moment in that photo because
Right.
Jules there is just skiing a perfect moment of like light and power.
Well, and you
There's,
can't
like
tell-
one tree and you it could be anywhere in the world.
It could also be you can't tell what year it is because you can't tell what gear he's wearing, like all that kind of stuff, right?
No. There's lots of mystery in that
Yeah.
photo.
So it could
And-
like it's not gonna like you're not gonna see like last year's jacket in it or something like
No.
that, which is easy. Yeah.
No.
That's what I'd never do. That's cool, man. Do you think you're gonna shoot? Like, do you submit photos for running and stuff now too? Do you do?
I've started to.
Yeah.
I just started to. I was kind of
Right.
like concentrating this summer on shooting more running and just
Yeah.
doing like for fun and I shot quite a bit, quite a few projects like even
Right.
like during this photo contest. It was called the Photo Expo, by the way, the one we did in Squamish. So just did like a bunch of shooting all summer long, just being opportunistic and. Yeah, I'm submitting a bit, and kind of my game plan with that is kind of taking what I've learned from the ski and snowboard industry and applying it on my trail running photography, and,
Right.
and we'll see if it can be something that complements my winters.
Cool.
And just doing more of it, more photography for trail running in summer. But then I also don't want to like lose my passion towards it by turning it completely into a job. 'Cause
Right.
that can happen.
Fast.
That's kind of what I felt with skiing, you know, and it's just like now I'm a bit more motivated and stoked about the skiing itself. But when you turn your love and passion into work, you can get consumed by that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think that's like my love and passion for weed. So
Yeah.
maybe get a weed job. I think you have to have a side, like something that's not, in my opinion, it's got to be something. I mean, like, I'm scattered with what I do, but I think you have to have something on the side that's a bit healthy. Like,
Yeah.
have a full-time job. if that's all I thought about, I wouldn't have that escape. So maybe for you, like photography is skiing is your full time, and I guess you can focus on running, just kind of get your mind off.
Yeah.
And might give you new perspectives and new ideas into how to shoot skiing, or vice versa, right?
Yeah, and it does. I'm always like, when running in the mountains and stuff, you come across stuff, and it helps creativity.
Right.
And your mind is like, when you're running for
your mind's on fire too,
your
right?
mind is like, you're in your own zone.
Yeah.
You're like with yourself. Plus, like, I hardly ever run with music. Like, sometimes I do, but just with, like, when you're running alone, wildlife, bikes could be coming if you're running on, like, bike trails, and just, like, I'm terrified of cougars. Like,
right.
Man,
well, they'll kill you, man.
Terrified of that thing just jumping me from behind. And, so I don't really run with, like, headphones when you're running in the forest. Those are alpine. And so you're there with yourself most of the time in your own head, and you get into a zone where you're, like, just going, you're flowing, and it leaves you with a lot of time just to think, a lot of time in your head.
I think really true runners, most of them, maybe I'm speaking out my ass here, but I feel like true runners don't take headphones. They all just run.
Some do. Like, you'll get in, like...
doesn't it fuck with your cadence and your pace and everything else? Like, because the songs are different and...
Yeah, it could. Like...
It's really specific on the songs you pick. If you pick
I will sometimes, like...
Right.
Okay, so like in the Squamish 50, I actually had not running the whole thing with music, but if I felt a little low, or like it's a climb where I feel like I need a pump up in motivation, I had like a playlist that was on my phone, and I had like one headphone coming up. It was like just sat here, and I could just pop it in my ear and hit play, and like it would give me a boost of motivation, and listen to like 1, 2, 3 songs at a time, put it down just to like get that motivation boost. And I think I did like a few times during the run, when you feel like you go through a lot of ups and downs, because it's such a long day, man. Like,
how long is a 50-kilometer run? Like 6 hours?
It was actually like 52 kilometers, and I did 7 hours 8 minutes, which was pretty good. It was pretty good for that. Pretty good. Yeah.
Who's that guy? Miriam Treasure. Guy lives around here. He's from Czech.
Marian. Yeah, Marian.
Yeah, Marian, right? Yeah.
Traeger. He's one of my buddies. We run together like all the time.
I was like, going to ask him, like, this reminds me, I'm like,
he is a good runner.
He's
legit. Strong. He's legit. Yeah.
I was like in my head, I'm like, I know you, I'm pretty sure you guys run or hang out. I'm like, wasn't sure, but yeah.
He's fast, a good guy, and we go do adventures and stuff. He's fast. He's fast, but he specializes in like half marathons and stuff.
Then
he
win
really like gotten into ultra marathons, but I think he's thinking of doing more of that like this year. And he's strong. He's motivated.
Fuck, he's quick. What's your training program like?
Like last year it used to be 2 summers ago. I was on like a good proper like training program where like Christian, who's my good friend, and also he was training me as well, right? Like we had an Excel sheet. I was like on a training program.
Nerdy about it, right on. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like cool. Running like 4 times a week, and he'd give me feedback and everything like after each run. And you kind of see that progression every week. Was this summer, and I was too loose. Like I was still able to like hit my goals. Maybe I wasn't as strong coming into them as I could have been, but I feel fine about that as well. Like I wanted to enjoy summer too, and I wanted to emphasize doing more trail running photography. So like that would kind of sometimes take the place of just like going out and like training hard. And I had like my parents come out for 2.5 weeks in the middle of summer and want to show them around and stuff. So
you didn't take them running with you?
I still did some runs. I still did. Like we went camping in Tofino for a few days, and I did like a big run just on like Long Beach, and then we did like I took them hiking up Joffrey Lakes.
Oh, cool!
And send them up hiking. In the meantime, like run up to the peak, down to the not the peak, like to the top lake.
Sure.
Down to the parking lot, and then up to the top lake again. So like that was just like part of my training. So I kind of made it happen, but I wasn't as strict. I was not running like 4 times a week. I guess I don't think my nutrition and like just stretching was on point. But
do you think that helps you like not burn out? You know, like if you're not trying to win the races, are you trying to win the training? Like you just enjoy it, you know? I think if you start to sacrifice your life for things, and you want a certain goal, sure, you have to sometimes do that, I guess. But if you're just running, like, I know you want to do well, but if you're not running to like win, like, or to like, break a world record or whatever.
Yeah. So just keep it as fun.
Be realistic about it.
Keep it as fun, you know? And that's been something I've emphasized with running this year.
Right.
And I feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I maybe didn't train as hard as I could have. As strict. I might have been able to run like the Squamish 50 15, 20 minutes faster, but like it's all good. You know, I feel good about it. And yeah, I want it to remain fun for as long as it can.
I think, don't they make you run a ton? Isn't the military all about running? When you're in the military?
Yes and no.
It's like all the training is
yes and no.
I always see like, this is so dumb, but I always see like in movies, everyone's always running.
We do running, but not as much as you would think. Like, actually, just like running light, when you can run in like shorts, t-shirt, running shoes, like that's actually one of the funnest parts. Like, it's actually like more of a chill thing.
Because they make you run like all your boots and your gear and everything.
They make you run with all of you. That's what's tough. Like, is that you're doing more stuff with all of your gear, with your super heavy vest on, with your rifle on, with your helmet on.
Yeah.
You're doing like these overnight like 55-kilometer marches, and then you like started like 6 p.m. or like sunset like 7 p.m. You end up like finishing it in sunrise. So you're like marching nonstop, like all night long. Like every hour they stop for like 5 minutes every hour. They don't let you sit, like never sit. The moment you sit, you're done. You're falling asleep. You're never getting up. They make you like drink a ton of water, refill your bottles, and just keep marching like all night long. And then towards the end, they like you open up the stretchers, and you've got like 8 guys working on one stretcher where you either like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and you do like the last like 8-10 kilometers with those open, and man, it's tough. It's tough. So whenever you get a chance to just go run, and be light, like that's a treat. That's a treat. I enjoy that.
Right.
Like,
okay.
I'll take that any day. Yeah.
Well, that's a huge. I mean, it's a contrast for sure. I mean, it's obviously like, and the motivation for like your training, to potentially see combat, or you're training to run in the forest as fast as you can. Yeah. It's totally, I mean, obviously totally different things.
Totally different things.
Yeah.
Totally different things.
But it would have made you a good runner once you got to the point where you weren't wearing all that gear. Even just marching all night.
Again, yes and no. I think
because isn't it about like a mindset of like, isn't running? I've been told, I understand that as you get older, you become almost better at like long distance running because you've learned to get your mind into it more.
Your mental game.
Yeah, it's been
your
trained.
mental game has been trained, and I think more than the physical and fitness aspect that I took, say, from my time in the military, from 3 years in it, I think it's a mental game.
Right.
It's being able to face challenging moments where you're like so damn tired, so damn beat up, like physically, mentally, and just like keep going. And that's what I think has benefited me for like trail running, and has I think it's just like benefited me with everything, like everything from the day I finished my military and all the goals I've set for myself, and being here now where I am with my photography career. Like I think like so much of that goes back to the mental side that I received like in my time in the military, and the character that it builds. You know, you forced into these uncomfortable, tough moments physically and mentally, and you just gotta go through it. There's nothing else you can do. You just gotta like walk through it and keep going.
Walk through the fire.
Walk through the fire. Ultimately, you know.
It is that like the ability to keep going through stuff, like that focus. Yeah. It's easy to get sidetracked on stuff and not have that focus if you're like, and get pulled in the wrong direction.
So easy.
Especially when someone's like offering something that seems like a little bit easier than the path you're taking. You're like, I can do that. Sure. And you're like, and then you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to stay focused, but it's so much reward when you do. Yeah. Because there's a bit of sacrifice there too, right?
Totally. Always.
Like when you've always wanted to be a photographer? Like when you're in the military, were you like, it's mandatory, you said, right?
Yeah, so it's 3 years. So we go in, it's 3 years for guys, 2 years for girls. And we go in when you're 18. So you just finished high school. You might have had like a few months off, and then you're right into it.
But were you ever like, I want to do this, or did you do it? Like, what's the mindset going into that?
Going in, basically, it's an interesting situation in Israel where at least like your environment kind of dictates, I think, your military service. So I come from an environment that is very much like pushes you to succeed, work hard, which is kind of Israel as a whole. But you kind of go into the military very, very motivated to do your best, to succeed, to get as far as you can, to like progress into maybe like being a commando officer down the road. And I went into the military like very motivated to be good and succeed. And I ended up being a commander for like a year out of my 3-year service. Yeah, like a squad commander of 12 soldiers.
Did you see
at
combat?
A time. And,
I know I just did the gun. That's really not inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like, I'm pretty thankful that the 3 years that I was in were pretty quiet. Like,
I mean,
we didn't have anything major. There was no like major operation with Gaza or with Hezbollah or anything when I was in the military.
Yeah.
Funny enough, like shit went down like the day I finished.
Really?
The day I finished, yeah, which was crazy. But yeah, like you see a lot. Like yeah. I mean, you know, like you would like stuff's always happening, but my 3 years were fairly mellow as far as it can get, you know.
And growing up, you're like, as a kid, your life was like wasn't chaos around you.
Is what?
It wasn't chaos. Like it was.
Man,
it was
life
pretty
in
normal,
Israel
right?
just like
it was mellow.
It's normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
Cool. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff is happening, and it always does. But it's funny when you're like born into a reality, it's almost normal to you.
Right. Okay.
And when you don't have it, like I don't have it here, everything's like
if anything happens here,
great, all dandy, you know, like all cool, and it feels strange without that like day to day like struggle and stuff going down.
So you did your 4th year wasn't a mandatory year as you were a commander.
No, I did 3 years. I did 3 years. 1 out of those 3 was as a commander.
Oh, okay.
And then I had the path where I could go and become an officer, which some people go down and can eventually end up in a military career. But for me, it was never gonna be like something that I really wanted to. It's like the military is such a love and hate relationship. Like you love it, but you hate it. Like all you want to do is be home, right?
Did you go to school there? Did they put you through school when you're doing those 3 years?
If you turn it into a career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like if I continued on to be an officer, I'd have to like basically sign a contract where you committed for another year and 8 months at a minimum.
Right.
And then once you completed that year and 8 months, that's where people are facing the decision whether they want to
full time,
whether they want to turn it into a career, and most end at that one, like after 4 years and 8 months. But for the folks who want to turn it into a career and actually fit that, because it's not for everyone.
No, of course.
Right? Then that's when they start like sending you to school and you get like education through it. Like a lot of guys like study abroad and then come back with a degree and they start like plugging them into like key spots, and
like if whatever the degree relates to in some
it all depends on what you did right in the military and what kind of your path was. For me personally, it was in combat.
It's interesting. I mean, I've never been there. I've never really been involved in the military aspect of any country or life at all. It's interesting to think that if it's mandatory, what that would mean. Like the structure and the discipline and the kind of the way you kind of get trained for the military is good, I think, in some respects. And so I'm curious what our culture would be like over here if mandatory 3-year service was still like reinstated. Because I think at some point every inscription was mandatory, but like like draft dodgers, that kind of stuff from the U.S. But I think it'd be interesting to see what our cultures would be like with that.
I think first of all, I think with military, the most important thing is that In Israel, it's out of necessity.
It's very apparent. It's right in front of you.
I don't think like if you looked at Canada, right, and stuff like life here, it's not a necessity.
No.
However, that being said, like having gone through that, I think it propels you just to a different level of maturity.
Sure.
Like for me, it was at age 21 and feeling like I already knew what my goals were. Like it's kind of been sitting on me what I want to do during those 3 years and where I want to go with life. And I think it just kind of gives you those tools to face challenges in life, and it turns you into just more of a mature human being. And not for everyone, of course, and not to say that here in Canada no one's mature at age 21, but but like I think if you looked at it as a whole, and if you wanted to generalize things, like maturity level when you've gone through military service is at a different it's at a different place, you know.
I think so.
Whereas like kids here, like or most places in the world, like finish high school, 18 years old, go into university, don't really know what they want to do, and spend most of their days like having a good old time and partying.
College
days. And we don't get that, but you know, we get it if we watch like American Pie or those films. Right. But that's what we think college is. Yeah, because in Israel you end up going to study when you're like 24, 25. You're just
a bit older.
It's a different game.
I think it's good that way. I mean, I think you know you get a perspective on life, and is university, you have to pay for university in Israel?
You have to pay. It's not like in the US or anything where it's not extremely expensive. Right, it's probably like a few $1,000s a month.
So it's not prohibitive.
Year, sorry.
It's not prohibitive, so people can actually afford to go.
People can actually afford to go.
Yeah. For sure. That's the thing, is like it's so expensive. I mean, I went to college, but it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I mean, to leave it, to try to, you know, get a reasonable degree and then come out with like $60,000 in debt or something like that, or whatever. And then
you're not studying for like $60,000.
Right.
It's nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that I think the culture of like having time off between high school and university is cool. Like the idea of, like, it's not a big thing that happens in North America, but I know, like, especially living in Whistler, you see like a lot of people from the UK or from, it's like, I'm on my break between high school.
Just like on gap year.
Yeah. Which I think is cool. But I wonder how many people get derailed on the gap year and never go back.
It happens.
Yeah, I wonder the ratio is, if it's like people could like,
especially here.
Here. You're like, you're going to Whistler for your gap year? Yeah. See ya.
See you later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Although there will be like people that come and go for sure. It's one of those towns where you make friends, you got to make them quick because you lose them fast.
That's what's tough about here.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost feel like I've put, like, me and like Charlotte, my girlfriend, have almost like put some defense mechanism on you where you won't you won't allow yourself to become close to someone, because like you just end up like heartbroken when they leave. Yeah. You know,
and you learn that like when you first get here, you're like, and you make. I remember when I first got here, I worked for Whistler Blackcomb, and there was like, you know, tons of staff, and live in staff housing. You have tons of friends. Everyone's fucking psyched because they just got here. Fun. And then and I was 24, so I was a little bit older, but everyone's fucking psyched. Everyone's having a good time, and then all of a sudden, like that very end of that season, 90% leave. Yeah, and then you're in that second season now where you don't meet that same gung ho crew of the first year. For you. Yeah, you like every year there's like it kind of trickles away, but
then it's like some of the most powerful connections I've had have been with people where there's an end date to that friendship.
Yeah, cool.
Right? Yeah. So you've like it's
hard to manage.
Spent a few months with maybe, or like met traveling and like spent a few weeks with. Yeah. And there's always gonna be an end date, so you kind of like you're all in on that. That relationship and friendship, you know, and it can become like really, really close, intense friendship over such a short period of time. I think that's happened to me a lot, just like having moved around so much and spent a lot of time with like completely different types of people.
That year that you traveled,
happened to me.
That year that you traveled for the travel company,
ski travel.
Yeah, were you solo most of the time?
I was solo, but this company has like reps in every resort that they work in. Yeah. Right. So like they're working in like 20 something resorts all around Europe, and at every resort there's a rep that receives like the guests flying from Israel and like shows them a good time for the week. It's kind of actually like a British concept in Europe, but yeah, so then I'm going around and meeting like 20 different people over one winter and staying with them in whatever apartment or hotel they're staying in, they've been put up in, and just like develop a friendship with them if I'm staying with them for like a week and stuff. And then we've actually got like this group of friends from that season and a few seasons like before that, and now I don't see them all that much these days, but like one of the weddings we were at like in Israel just now a month ago was of one of those guys, right? Cool. So we were actually like a group of like 20 friends, you know, you're closer to some, you're less close to some others, but you're just like ultimately like a cool group that was created through just like a season or a
chance.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I think it is pretty cool. And I think it's like there's the idea when you're strangers, when you meet people, when there's less obligation for some kind of return.
Yeah,
you can be more open and be more who you are because you're not. There's like a different idea that if we're gonna be friends for the next 2 months, or I just met you and you know, say I meet you on a train and we're gonna talk for 2 hours.
Yeah,
that interaction is gonna end. But it's interesting just to be able to have that freedom of not having an expectation or a history. That you can just talk to somebody, like it's really cool. That innocence of like, and then you talk to them, and you meet somebody on the bus, and maybe you still talk to them for 10 years later. Who knows? But it is cool to meet people. Like I kind of like when you're skiing on your own, let's say for example, and you're like ripping around, and you bump into a group of people that you know. Like, hey, you do a few laps. I find it's almost more fun because you can just kind of like, okay, I'm out. There was no. Like, you're like, I'll go with the flow. Where do you guys want to ski? But when you go as a group and you get there, it's like, where are we going to go? Where do you want to ski? What run are we going to take? And it's kind of hard to make a decision.
Yeah.
If you just rock up and bump into 2 people, it becomes so much easier, and you just ski away.
Do you go ski a lot on your own and just like
I do, yeah.
People?
I don't do it. I just kind of drone. I kind of like wake up in the morning, ski. I just kind of get up and go, and I forget just to kind of like, maybe it's my head injury, I don't know, but I just kind of like get up and go on the mountain. I'm like, oh, I should have probably called somebody.
Yeah.
But I just have a different schedule than most of my friends.
Yeah.
So, but I like to ski with anybody, with everybody. But I ski a bunch solo.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? You go up? Well, I guess you're with people.
Well, normally I'm like shooting, so a lot of the stuff is pre-planned. But some of my funnest days have just been like going out alone, maybe without the camera, and like we know people in this town, and you end up bumping into people.
Yeah.
You know.
I might only have like 2 hours. That's why I go on my own.
Yeah.
You know, that's why. If I would go for the whole day, I wouldn't.
You'll just do like a couple laps with someone, and
or just like if I know I only have a couple hours, I just won't try to organize a group.
Yeah.
I'll just get up and go.
Yeah. And sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's nice, like if I'm just doing some laps on my own, or you bump into people, and you end up sometimes like bumping into people, you know, but you're not always that close to, and end up skiing with them a few laps, and it's like, oh, that's cool. That's
or all
fun.
of a sudden you ski to the bell. You're like, man, it's 3:30. It's an awesome day. You were planning to go for the whole day. You just plan on going for a bit.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of full circle here because we talked about skiing and how it kind of, you know, when you first came here, you met a dude and like, you you became friends.
We met through skiing.
Yeah.
My buddy Chris, he spent the season in Tignes in France, which was where I was spending that season.
Yeah.
And I just he was speaking on the chairlift with what I thought was an American accent. Mind me, I didn't know too many Canadians then. He was like, dude, I'm like Canadian, not American. I don't think he was that pissed with me, but we just ended up just connecting on a chairlift.
Cool.
Just because I heard like a North American accent, and you don't get many of those coming to ski in France. You get Brits. Yeah. You get a lot of Brits, but you don't get a North American accent. So I was just like curious, and we just started chatting, ended up skiing together a little bit that day. Cool. Skiing during that season, and you know, here we are, you know?
Yeah. I think it's done a lot for a lot of people. I think it's like there's those sports people are still say, you know, if it wasn't for hockey, I'd be this, or if it wasn't for something, I'd be this, whatever. Skiing's just that sport where I think it's really common to be like sleep on someone's couch, get picked up at the airport. Yeah. And you ride somewhere, you need to hitchhike. Because in Europe, hitchhiking is part of your daily experience skiing sometimes to get back to the lodges and you ski somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think
it can be tough though, just transportation between places. And I didn't have a car then. Not in Europe. I wasn't living there. I was just spending my winter. So I was based in a place, but I was completely relying on public transportation.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But it's a lot more. I mean, relying on public transportation here is ridiculous. But you can't get from town to town that easy around here.
No, you can barely get like to Vancouver and back.
I know. But in Europe, I guess at least the transportation there has a better infrastructure, even just like goes more places.
Totally. It's way better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I have a buddy coming up in like a few weeks here, and I think he lands at like 6 p.m. And I'm looking at like bus schedules, and there's hardly any way for him to get up. I think there's like one company that's super expensive from the airport that he can get up with, but like 6 p.m. and you can't get up from Vancouver to Whistler.
I think the last bus is like 7 o'clock or something before I can get it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think it's 7 o'clock in like peak season, like January, February.
Yeah.
Not in slower season. It isn't.
I mean, then you're kind of screwed.
You're pretty screwed
unless someone comes and picks you up, and that's why like it's funny when you look at Facebook, all you see is like who's going from the airport to here like when this time of year. Or,
like, I do that.
Yeah, I mean it's because, but that's again the culture is people do help with that, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think just skiing and just traveling and being in the spots where everyone's kind of like the historical dirtbagness of skiing has given people the idea that like you sleep on a couch.
Yeah.
You know, you just all you can do is pay for a lift ticket and sleep on a couch.
Yeah.
It's
cool. Fun. Like how much of that, like you say, the historical skiing dirtbag, you don't really live that lifestyle.
No, you can't.
I don't really live that lifestyle. I don't know that I ever lived that lifestyle in Canada.
Yeah.
But
what I'm saying is like these bits of it where like it's like the support of like being able to get that ride or get those things.
Yeah, totally.
That's like in the spirit of it.
Well, it's just the spirit and that community aspect is there.
The dirtbag ski thing is pretty much impossible to do now.
Tough. Not in this. I like it would be tough in Whistler.
Oh, it is. I don't even think it's possible here anymore. I don't know any.
If you did like staff housing and.
Well, I don't. I guess the definition has changed a bit too because it used to be like dirtbag skiing. Have you ever heard of this guy Crucial Mike?
No. So he sounds like a character though.
Yeah, he's a Whistler character. I don't think he lives here anymore. I really don't know his story beyond when I knew he was here. But he's got these videos where he would like show you how to like, you know, get food from the roundhouse.
Oh,
like,
no
off
way.
trays and like how to make like ketchup and water soup and stuff.
Oh my god!
So
I hear those stories.
Yeah, and then there's also you live in the squats like around town, but that's I mean that's
I don't know how many people could do that in Whistler these days.
There's that lady who lives on the side of the highway. She's been there since I pretty much moved here.
No way.
Yeah, she squats. I think she's a little tiny lady. She's got gray hair. She's always on the highway carrying water, getting rides.
No way.
Yeah, and I think she lives just. Anyway, I'm not gonna give away she lives, but yeah, everybody in Whistler I know.
Don't give it away.
Yeah, she's been there doing it forever.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not a secret. You know,
no,
everyone sees her.
She's just been here forever. It's like she's just
probably has squatter rights on that property. I bet it's probably a piece of prime real estate.
She just comes with Whistler as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got plans for travel anytime coming up? Other than, you just got back from Israel, but
just got back from Israel and England now. Amazing trip.
Yeah.
Not too many plans for this winter.
Right.
I think I used to try and overplan my winters a little bit, and then you just end up like either closing certain doors that it just open up in winter or just like getting disappointed when things don't go to plan.
Right.
And I find in our industry, which can be a bit like, like a bit too chill or broy at times. When you're trying to make a living out of it, it can be a challenge. But right. I think opportunities just like present themselves throughout winter, depending on conditions, what crews are doing, what brands are doing, because even like brand wise, like you worked with brands in the industry plenty, right? And you just know that like brands are not always on top of their plans and game. Yeah. They're just not. And so trying to overplan can be a little bit frustrating. So just like my way of going about it now is like leave my schedule pretty flexible, pretty open, except for some like ongoing contract work, which is great to have.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Leave it pretty flexible and stuff is going to happen. And then you can be the guy who's able to say yes at the right time and the right moment and jump on opportunity. Yeah.
Especially with, editorial wise, I guess there's like, obviously, that slows down as far as money goes, but trips and stuff are still happening. But, I mean, obviously the work is that you want is like commercial work or more like that kind of
commercial and like brands, working with brands,
yeah,
creating their photos, and then tourism.
yeah.
I want to be doing like a bit more like tourism.
Yeah.
You know, tourism board. That's
They
that's
got
where
money.
where a lot of the money is sitting these days.
Tourism's big, especially like on the West Coast for sure. But I mean, when I worked in the industry, there was tourism. There was always tourism trips and like media trips and fan trips, that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I think it's been about an hour or so. What else? We got anything that we missed you want to talk about?
I don't know. We talked about a lot of things, but
yeah, we wove around a bunch. I just kind of got us off track a few times. But
you want to talk a bit more about like coming from Israel and the cultural.
I guess I want to. I guess because I'm naive to that area, and I mean I understand there's conflict in a lot of that space, but I don't know. Like as far as timelines go, like when you said your childhood was pretty normal and stuff, like and then when you said when you left the military, that's when shit kind of broke out.
No, there was just like something like kind of shit a little bit hit the fan. There wasn't like something major. The day I finished, it's not. It's always like ongoing. There's always
like how far
stuff happening.
How far away does your family live from this, like the actual action?
So I grew up like small town next to Jerusalem.
Okay.
Which is actually like high in elevation than like Whistler.
Oh, really? Cool.
Well, not like Whistler Peak, but the town itself is at like 900 meters.
Oh, cool.
Just like 20 minutes drive from Jerusalem. So you're kind of close to it, but it's kind of quiet. But then at the same time, like just overlooking from my house, like there's Palestinian towns right across the valley. So you're like seeing it every day, but I've never been there. So it's really odd. Like even just like going back now and like seeing it, like having been away for quite a few years now, like just seeing it, it's like, it's an odd concept. Like
so close and yet so kind of like forbidden and far away
so
type
far.
thing.
And now I just think like sometimes in the mindset of like trail running these days, and I'm like, man, I can like run there. Like I could just like run, connect all of these places and like running, but yet I can't. It's pretty insane. But my parents have actually moved a few years ago, so they're right next to the beach these days, which is really nice. Like this town like 45 minutes north of Tel Aviv. So they're actually in like a pretty like I guess as peaceful of an area as there is these days in Israel. Just like not much
Tel Aviv,
not much friction there, but
Tel Aviv it's less like it was pretty crazy for a while, right? There's still it still is.
Just for like if you're going back to like the second Intifada, which was the early 2000s, like 2001, 2002, there was shit going down then with like basically just like terror attacks, like suicide terror attacks, which was terrible. Like just like Palestinian terrorists would like explode themselves on a bus or in a restaurant or in a club. Like it was, those were tough days. Those were definitely like tough days, and that doesn't really happen anymore these days, thankfully. But there's always stuff, and I think like without diving too much into the conflict, because there are always going to be like two sides to a story, and media portrays what's happening there in a certain ways that sometimes isn't the truth, or just like sides of the story.
So I want to ask you. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So like I want to ask you. So one thing I was curious about is, so when we talk about media and coverage, like, and your parents are there and you have family there, how much are we exposed to through the general channels that we look at, whether it's, let's just say it's news channels or whatever, like other than Facebook and stuff, but you obviously communicate with your family regularly. Is the news accurate? Do you think just media in general, but it's knowing you're coming from that
I think the news you'd get, and the funny thing is, like, now when I go online and stuff, and where I get my news, I go onto like Israeli news websites. I don't like go on to CNN or BBC all that much. Like,
nobody should.
I'll look at my news in Israel, and I'll read it in Hebrew. So it's tough to say because I'm not always like following.
You're not
like,
comparing
the
both
news.
sides.
I'm not really comparing, but I think you'd get like the truth, but not all the sides of it.
Right. Okay.
And I think that's what it is, whether it's like pro-Israel or anti-Israel, such a thing. But yeah, it's just such a funny, like, we have a saying in Israel, which in Hebrew means in Hebrew it's zar lo yavin zot, which is like a stranger will never understand, and without trying to like be too arrogant about things, like I don't think that a stranger could ever understand until he like lived in it.
I don't understand
and understand that and realize that culturally it is very difficult to find that common ground on both sides.
Right.
And surely there are two sides to a story, always to a conflict, and you got to hear both sides. But it's such an interesting, like, deep rooted situation where I don't think that anyone can really come in from the outside and tell you what's right and what's wrong. And that kind of goes to both ways, you know? Yeah. So obviously, like, I'm Israeli and I'm Jewish, and my instinct is gonna be like to take sides with the Israeli side, which is what I do, right? But then I do realize that you gotta realize that there's two sides to every story, and coming from outside, and you can't really make your own opinion to what you believe is right and what you believe is wrong, because you've just never been in that situation,
right?
You know, and I, being someone who like grew up there and being someone who's gone through like 3 years of the military, right? Even at my situation now, I feel like I'm not educated enough about it to form an opinion that I feel is like right compared to wrong. It's just like so complex, and people, way smarter people than me and way more educated in this fascinating matter have like spent their entire lives and dedicated their lives to it, and still have not found a solution or resolution or common ground to what it's worth. That I just feel like, even having lived there my entire life, I'm not educated enough about it to like form such a solid opinion, and that's where it connects back like full circle into like a stranger will never understand it, because a stranger has never lived in that situation, in that reality, and to really like start realizing it and come up with some sort of understanding and opinion, you got to be immersed in that situation and live within it. And that's what I find such a challenge with anyone, like looking at anything that's happening in any place in the world, you know, like we can look at what's happening in Syria, and we can look at what's happening in like Africa and whatever, but the truth of the fact is that those cultures are so different to what you believe is like the Western world standard, or what you said to yourself in North America and the US and Canada, and unfortunately you're just not living in that situation in Africa or wherever it will be, to like form a proper understanding and a proper opinion to evaluate that situation. And it's just so complicated.
It's complicated because it's also hard to find like correct information. Like I know, like in North America, everybody just creates noise and like misinformation and like so much minutia and cloudiness that no one really knows what's happening, or how like even to get an educated opinion of both sides, so much screaming going on, yelling going on, that it's hard to break through and actually find out what's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I guess in like your thoughts on like locally with news media in Israel, and the way I see news happening here, we're just trying to confuse everybody. Is that the same thing? That's kind of media does the same thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Same thing. It's just
totally. There's like, just now there's like crazy fucked up stuff happening in Israeli politics. It's just ridiculous right now. Like, we don't need to dive into it. You can like Google what's going on right now, but we're literally on the way to a third election in 1 year.
Yeah, wow.
And Bibi, who's been like our prime minister for 10 years, which in my opinion, like we definitely need to move on from, just to like refresh things, because in Israel, like life is tough. Life is tough in Israel, and I think there's not enough going towards like just like living and getting through life. It is really tough to get through life there, and I think on those social levels, our current prime minister has totally not touched those subjects well enough, and kind of neglected it under like the emphasis of like what's happening with the conflict in Iran and internationally. And there's so many, like, just living life is tough in Israel. When you're trying to get through life. Just imagine like a country that's just as expensive as Vancouver, Whistler, and yet people are earning way less money.
Right.
That's pretty tough, man.
That is tough. Here, it seems like it must be crazy.
And that's not being touched. That's not being solved. And I think we need to move on. And right now, like, Bibi has like a court case against him, and we're on the way to another election, and it's just like, it's such a freaking mess right now, man.
I think it all is. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know the scope of that ever, but I feel like the elections are tough because every 4 years there's something new happening, and no one can really get their, like, whether it's good or bad. I mean, you have these, it's never consistent, and there's never like no one. If it's consistent, it's usually communism or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But, and then otherwise,
that never ends well.
No,
someone's always going to take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, it's crazy. Always. I don't know. I don't like to get too political because I think like I don't know enough either. I do try to keep a little bit up to date so I can keep myself on a decent path. But like I definitely ride the middle. But yeah, I think it's frustrating when you know that you're not being told the whole story in media in general. But you like. Would you ever try to get your family to move here? Like, do you ever think they should just come and No, it doesn't. It's just more like
no, I don't.
Doesn't. It's just, their life's fine. Like they're just living, right?
They're so connected to their
right.
And the thing with Israel is that this is like forever, until the day I die. It's no matter what. That's like who I am and where I'm from, and I'm so connected to Israel, and I love it. And in senses, I'm sometimes like very torn because my mentality and like my heart is still so much in Israel and my family and my close friends and my country, like that I've basically, like, I put my life on the line for 3 years is there. But then I love my lifestyle here and just everything about being here and my career and the outdoors, and just suits my life. But I'd never look at it as in like, I wouldn't try and move someone out of there and my family who are connected to that place because I'm so connected to it as well. Right. It's not out of wanting to get out of there for one moment. Okay, not at all. Not at all. It's actually, although I live here these days, my connection to Israel is so strong.
Great.
So strong, and it grows like. The more I'm away from it, like I want to spend time there. I want to spend time during like every year there. Hopefully, like whether it's a month or two or whatever. Like I want to be spending time there too.
Yeah, it's a cool perspective. Well, I mean, it's a great perspective to be able to have. Like, coming from that background and then coming to Canada and just being able to like understand the world as a like. I've grown up in Canada. I've traveled around. I haven't spent much time outside the country than like a few months here and there. But it's it would put a really cool perspective on your thoughts on the world, coming from somewhat vast from different places. Yeah. And experiencing them both, but still having that love and connection for it. You weren't trying to escape. You're just trying to try something different.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it's good to have that. I mean, some people have to escape, I guess, but I'm just always curious about the way media portrays like what we hear compared to actually happening.
Yeah.
But
it's I think it's like
it's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what it is. It's complicated.
It's complicated, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like truth, a lot of faults, and it's really complicated, bottom line,
Yeah. It's a tough thing to get around. And I think that's there's so much shit that we listen to or hear, and we can get in these echo chambers. And I hear these words like narratives and what's your story, these echo chambers, and these words are thrown around so much. It's just like sometimes you want to stick your head in the sand and be like, I'm gonna go skiing.
Yeah.
That's
what's cool about being here is I feel like here lifestyle can just consist of what we wish like everywhere in the world was. It's like as far from the shit as anywhere really in this world. Like here. Maybe like places like New Zealand, I haven't been there. Maybe it's similar in a sense.
I think
like it's pretty far from it, but like we can concentrate on like playing in the outdoors and being fit and eating the food we want and hanging out with friends, like just like doing what life should be about for most people in the world, which is like doing what they want to do.
And what's cool about this place is like people are here from around the world. There's tons of people here from different parts of the world. So that's what's like that keeps this place kind of aware of what's going on. People do pay attention to global matters in this town, I think, in some respects, because they're all from different parts of the world. Yeah. So like people like you, it's more of a topic of conversation than it is because there's people from all around giving their insights and input.
Yeah. But then I feel like there's not that many conversations about global matters. And I don't know if it's like a bit of an escape for people coming here. Like maybe, in a sense, you could say that there is a bit of an escape for me coming here. Mm-hmm. Although I couldn't live this lifestyle that I'm living here if I was in Israel. I probably couldn't like make my photography a career. Definitely not shooting like action sports, which I wanted, right? But like I don't know if like people here, do you think people here are like too politically correct to like really like get to the into like talking about stuff like this? Like, because I'm not really I'm not. I think it's people aren't that political. I think people are political in this town, but I don't think it's as. I think there's a lot of people who are strongly political and they have a loud voice and they talk about it a lot. But I think people do come here to forget. I'm not very strongly political. I mean, I definitely have my views and I definitely vote certain ways. But I just maybe think that people are less engaged politically, and it's changing. I think younger kids, it's for changing for sure. But I think these towns are like escapes to come and live a life of gluttony and skiing and everything else. And now this town's growing up and people are more aware politically. Yeah. And I think the younger generation is making it that way. Yeah, I think in some respects, especially global warming is making things really political. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Climate change. That's making things
really political. The environmental aspect is really like leaking into politics. And
that's political. That's dragging people who are environmental, it's dragging them into politics.
Into politics, good. Exactly. Yeah. Like when you see like Protect All Winters, like that's literally talking about an election, right? Yeah. And I'll be the first to tell you that I didn't really like, I can't vote right in Canada. I'm not a citizen, but like I don't dive into Canadian politics all that often. Like I absolutely don't. But I feel like a place like Canada who doesn't have stuff like Israel has on its doorstep with a conflict can actually lead by example in setting like environmental matters and unfortunately, I think for so many countries and governments in the world where you've got so much shit in your day-to-day life going on, like you can't really... It's almost like you'll see the environmental aspect shoved down like to the bottom of the importance list. But of course it is so important, especially like today we're kind of at a point where if we continue there's like no return. And a country like Canada that is fortunate enough to not have too much shit on their plate.
We have the time to deal with it.
You have the time to deal with it.
We don't have like the time frame, but we have the
opportunity
to deal with it.
It's almost like a mental capacity where in other places in the world, like it's so full with
military
so much
turmoil
stuff.
And just shit going on. The environment's the last thing you do. You're trying to not get fucking bombed or whatever, or gassed. And it's like, I can't jump on this like I'm an expert, but I think that's a huge thing. I didn't really thought about it that way, but people who have the capacity to deal with it should be dealing with it, and it's not.
Why do you think there's so much conversation here in Canada? It's not just because we're in the outdoor world. Of course, that's a major part of it, right? And people who live the outdoor world, like us, like maybe more deeply into it, and push those environmental matters more. But it's just as a whole, like people have more mental capacity and time to deal and get educated on these matters, and I hope that Canada is actually like a country that can lead by example with those things.
I think it should be. I think North America in general should be. I think there are countries, like I said, like you said, like if you have the bandwidth to at least like attack the subject or attack them, you should, because there's because some countries just can't, and everyone's got to deal with the climate change, but other people have to deal with their countries getting divided and citizens being like murdered and whatever else detained and stuff. It's like, if our battle's the environment, let's make it our battle.
Yeah.
And let other people else try. We'll help if we can to figure out other people's, country messes. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's, and also living in the mountains, you are more aware. If you live in the environment, you're more aware. If you live in a military environment, you're aware of military, and if you live in a mountain environment, you're aware of, the mountains and the environment more.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely locational, but it's a tough subject, man, because, if you think about the people who are just trying to survive, the last thing they're trying to do is recycle. They're like, I need to get food or something,
Totally.
I don't care what the food comes in or where I'm going to put the food. I just need to eat the food and stay alive and drink clean water.
Yeah.
So I think there's luxuries that allow us the time to hopefully attack this problem. But we need some snow soon, so we got to fix that.
I thought we were going to get some today.
You think so?
I don't know. That's what it said.
I think it's supposed to get. You said, what'd you say? It's going to be like minus 50 and
like
fucking freezing,
like minus 15 in a couple of days. Man. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And yet we have no snow.
Yeah.
Here we're gonna start getting like minus 15 and sun coming up. Oh man.
Dude, I don't know. I bought my Pass for the first time this year, and we haven't. It's probably the latest I haven't seen snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I think like, the matter of global warming doesn't mean less snow, more snow. It just or hotter or colder. It just means like winters are not consistent.
I think it's volatility.
It's totally. It's like a stock that's like soaring and dipping like crazy. There's no consistency. You can't be like, yeah, I know January is gonna be good and consistent like that. That's just not happening anymore.
No, it's happened pretty quick though. Like I remember when I've it's happened in the last 15 years. It's changed dramatically.
You think like, okay, I've only been here for a few years. What year did you come out here?
2004.
2004. So take like 2004, 2005, which is like 14, 15 years ago. Do you feel like your first few winters were more consistent? And I'm not saying more snows than like this year or whatever, like just more consistent.
What I remember is how long the season lasted for at the end.
Yeah.
I don't really remember big pow days, how much snow actually fell, but I remember these times where you had so much more snow and so much more base, like in the June and May. That June air time.
So it just lasted longer.
Yeah, so I would only then assume that either it was colder longer or we had way more snow. But if you look historically,
but I don't think that you necessarily had more snow.
No,
because that's not where it's at.
I used to do all the snow reporting for Whistler Blackcomb for like 2 years, or like 4 years.
And some of these past few years have been like, well, they call it like record years. Every year,
there's always ups and downs.
Some sort of record.
There's always there's always a record when you're marketing person. When you're a marketing person, there's always a
man. Yeah. We got to sell this place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but consistent. I mean, historically, in what I remember and what my knowledge is that it's consistent within 10 to 15 feet a year variance. But then I just remember that you just had snow longer, and I don't really remember it being. I remember my first year here, it didn't snow till like way into December. And then it fucking dumped. Like, I think
that's what's gonna happen this year.
Yeah,
I think it's like just not gonna snow till like mid-December.
Yeah,
or whenever, and then it's just gonna and it opens up. It always happens. Like it always does.
It's funny. This conversation happens so much. It's like everybody's always talking about snow, but like it's just that makes us so aware of the environment. Because we're always thinking, okay, when's it gonna snow, right? It's like I don't know. We've had years where there was one year when I worked on the mountain. It was like just before Christmas.
Yeah.
The storm was so bad that chairs were like whacking together, like they were dinging. They were up on the down. And we used to go up first thing in the morning, and the chair would have to go to the rendezvous in the Glacier Creek on Blackcomb. And then they had to take us down in snowcats because trees were falling over. It was so windy they wouldn't let us ski out. And the chairs were all stopped because one of them, I guess, got tangled somehow or something like that. But they tried to take us down and like people mover snowcats.
Yeah.
And that was like piss and rain. It was a horrible day. But there's only a few days to stand out. But I don't know. I mean, there's always a POW day. I mean, maybe there won't be in 50 years, but ever since I've been here, there's always been good POW days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since I moved here, a couple of those winters have been like killer.
The glacier's definitely. I used to work on the glacier when I first moved up here, and the glacier's definitely fucked compared to what it used to be.
They are, huh?
Even in that 15 years.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's crazy to think in the span of like when you think of like the world on a scientific level, you're talking like billions of years. Isn't it insane to
we're
think
talking
like what a
years?
spec 15 years is?
No,
it's like not even a minute. Yeah. It's not even a minute in measurable in anything.
Even when I was a kid back in Ontario, back home. These stories are fucking. I sound like parents right now, but even when I was a kid back home in Ontario, we used to have snowbanks massive, and I wasn't because I was short. The snowbanks were huge. We had a fucking ton of snow when I was a kid, and we saw it all the time. And now I go back, and it's very rare they have these consistent. It's like you said, its consistency's gone.
Yeah,
the consistency, or what you think is consistent, because they used to have the Farmer's Almanac. They would have these things, and that's all bullshit. But the predictions, you could always just predict it'd be a snowy or cold winter.
Yeah,
and it just always was. Now,
well, it's about like the length, like when like the seasons are not as defined.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's just shorter, or there's like just volatile. Yeah, but I do recall, like, the late spring park sessions up on Whistler or Blackcomb, like really late in the year. And like they still shut, but they had tons of snow.
Wow.
So I don't know, probably more temperature wise, because you need to have a certain amount of temperature below zero that effectively kills off certain like viruses and bugs and that kind of stuff too, right? So like when your winters get shorter, doesn't it make it more like there's more beetles and bugs and stuff and like viruses and like mosquito and stuff, because it doesn't kill it, right? So
it affects like on all fronts.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Let's not end on a shit note of the environment.
No, it's a good note.
But
how did you find the coffee, by the way?
Dude, it's really good. I want to keep drinking it, but I don't want to get the mud in the mouth.
No, you kind of hit the sweet spot. Like,
I think
I'll show you.
I was trying to measure my glass to yours. I'm like, I still got time.
The mud's at the bottom, right? So, like, just having drank this my whole life, I know where the sweet spot is. Maybe I even like pushed it a tiny bit, but that's pretty. Like, that's where you kind of want to.
You can't do it fast. You got to like do a slow sip.
You gotta. Yeah. You don't want to get any of that mud.
It tastes fucking. It's really good. Like it. Yeah. And it's. I think the cloudiness helps it with just like the drinkability.
Yeah.
Because if it was just really watery and like it just be that bitter kind of when you drink just dark, just black coffee, regular coffee, that's good. It's yummy. And you can't get it here, huh?
You cannot get it here. I'm sure you can get like Turkish coffee variations in Vancouver. I have had like a couple like that friends got and stuff, and it was crap.
Oh really?
Like there's nothing like home, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing like home.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show, dude. It's great.
So
I appreciate it, man. I hope we have a good winter. I'm sure I'll see you again. And
I think it will be all right.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Like.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
This isn't wood. This is some shit.
Oh.
Well, maybe
it's some
wood.
shit.
Maybe it's just. It might be wood. It might be pressboard.
Yeah. But we're finishing on a good note.
Yeah, and you good note. First day of my new studio.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man. We didn't have any lights. Hope it worked out well. We'll have to do it again sometime for sure.
Let's do it.
Let's
get out skiing this year a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I want to do a lot. I don't have any more obligations with the mountain.
Sweet.
So I can just go any day.
You're free spirit now.
Yeah. No shit, man. For sure. Cool. Well, thanks. Yeah. So what? Oh wait, people can find you, Guy Fattal. Instagram is your.
Yeah, like you can find. He's on like. I do the Instagram game.
Yeah.
Although I took like a bit of a break.
It's good to do that.
After winter, which is cool because I think, wow, we didn't even talk like about social media, but that's a chat for a different day.
Yeah, well,
like what it does, like mentally and stuff, and I'm sure you always talk about it anyway.
It makes me depressed. I have to. Yeah. I just my Instagram has been for the last 2 days been closed off, put in a folder on my phone that I can't just roll to.
Yeah, I
so I'm trying to like not do it for a couple
like
days.
Took a break from it for like 5 months.
Oh really?
After winter, yeah, until my magazine work and stuff was starting to come out. Like I took like a break, but chat for a different day. But yeah, you can find me like just Guy Fattal Photography on Instagram, social media, or my website, guyfattal.com, and you know where I'm at.
Taking pictures,
skiing, snowboarding, winter, trail running,
everything.
Just enjoying time here. Trying to get a little more into it.
Yeah.
We've got like all the gear.
Oh yeah.
My girlfriend, she like broke her ankle last year on her first lead climb outdoor. So that's kind of set us back, and we're kind of scared a little bit. But we have all the gear. We just like we
need the time.
You climb a lot, huh?
No, I did. I was doing it a lot indoors like a year and a half ago, and then I got really bad tendonitis in my hands.
Oh no way!
Because I just didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't train. I just started climbing. I got okay. But my hands got bad. I couldn't bike, couldn't do much. I just typing like social media and using my phone and typing. My arms got worked.
What a terrible way to like destroy your arms,
dude.
Man.
Brutal.
Terrible. But Yeah, like we want to get more into it. I think we like had the setback, and then I ended up like becoming so committed to my running, and that's kind of how I've been spending my past 2 summers. But I definitely want to climb much more next summer, and that's another thing. Like I have a little bit of a fear of heights, and just like pushing myself out of that comfort zone and doing every day you're out there climbing something I never thought I could succeed in getting up like a face. Just when I started that day, like that's an incredible feeling. That's really cool.
It is cool. It's it's such a things that we don't like. And climbing just seems like you just as a kid you just climb. Like it seems like a I don't know how to say this, like a really basic thing.
Yeah.
And I mean it's pretty high risk, but it's fun to do, man.
Yeah, I want to do more.
It's pretty zen. Cool. Sweet. I don't even shouldn't just said it's pretty zen. That sounds so lame. It's pretty cool. But okay, well, cool. Thanks for coming by, man. It's cool. It's good chat. And we will see you soon.
Soon.
All right. Bye.